It's been a busy period for Jonathan Wilson, whose new album is Gentle Spirit. He'll be opening for Tom Petty on Petty's European tour this summer. He's also producing the new album by the legendary British folk singer Roy Harper. Wilson also co-produced the very fine album by Father John Misty, Fear, Fun. Recently, Off Duty had a chance to catch up with Wilson. I want to talk about Gentle Spirit, but I just want to go back a little bit and talk about influences. Mm-hmm. When you were young and you were first starting to play, who were you listening to?
During those days, I was, exposed to a lot of stuff that came from my dad and mom, who were, they were super into, to the, the Beatles and the British bands from the mid '60s, the Invasion, that whole thing.
Not only are you capable of playing every instrument on an album, you've done so many times. Yeah. When did you realize you had a facility for music?
Like when I was, just my first guitar and tune that I composed was when I was 3, so it was pretty early. One
of the jobs you had as you were developing your career was to make recordings for karaoke singers.
Yeah, that's true.
And you played every instrument on those?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And that must have been interesting, at least.
Yeah, at the time I was bummed about it. I was like, man, this is not anything I should be doing. I should be performing. I shouldn't be doing, like this. But then in hindsight, that turned out to be one of the best things that I've done, because I sort of the first time that I really sat in the studio to dissect, all these songs and stuff. So.
Yeah, and you moved to Laurel Canyon. Was that a coincidence, or was it because you had a sentimental attachment to the music?
No, it was not a pilgrimage. I just sort of happened to be there, the house was I was definitely was on the hunt for a private spot, to have a home studio and that type of thing, which in LA, can be hard to find. And so this was just like a perfect storm.
Getting to Gentle Spirit, which it's such an interesting amalgamation of influences. We do hear that 60s Laurel Canyon thing,
right.
But we also hear some Skip Spence in there, maybe some Pink Floyd in there,
right.
And yet never does it not sound like you, and never does it sound dated. I mean, how do you manage something like that?
Well, something like that is conscious in the respect where I, to become a modern approximation of the past or something has not been a goal, and been something I've been conscious to not do to an extent to where you kind of cross a line. I mean, to someone that would hear the just like the general sound of the album might say that sounds like the '60s or blah blah blah, but then when you kind of dig in, I don't necessarily think it does, like what you're saying, but so that is something that I do sort of try to to carefully kind of guide it, to not be pigeonholed as something from the past.
Although I must say it's interesting in the sense that first of all, people like that music, that old kind of music.
Yeah.
And if you're looking for an expanded audience,
right.
to expand your demographic, to use the term,
right.
It's an easy way in for people. They feel comfortable.
That's true.
I must say that the album takes the listener on a journey. There's some really tasty guitar parts there. Really,
thank you.
Some wide open spaces for the listener to explore.
Right.
I think you really nailed it with this one.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Listen, he's Jonathan Wilson. The album is Gentle Spirit. You've got to check it out. You'll enjoy it, and you'll begin a relationship with Jonathan that's going to last all of us a good long time. Jonathan, good to see you.
Yeah, man.
Great.
Thank you so much.
All right. For the Wall Street Journal, I'm Jim Fusilli.